The Stonecutter. Long ago, in a quiet village near tall green mountains, there lived a stonecutter. Each day he worked along the side of the mountain, cutting great pieces of rock and shaping them into smooth blocks for houses, walls, and winding paths through the village. Every morning he rose before the sun, carried his tools up the narrow trail, and began his work. The sound of his hammer echoed against the stone as he chipped and shaped the rock hour after hour. His hands were rough from years of labor, the stones were heavy, and by evening his back ached with tiredness. Still, this was the life he knew. One afternoon, after delivering a large block of stone to a wealthy man's house, the stonecutter stepped inside for the very first time. The floors beneath his feet were smooth and shining. The walls were cool to the touch, polished until they almost gleamed in the light. In the center of the room, the rich man sat comfortably on soft cushions, enjoying bowls of sweet fruit brought to him by his servants. The stonecutter stood quietly and took it all in. The fine clothes, the gentle shade, the way the rich man did not need to lift a single heavy stone. A small thought began to grow in his heart. "I work from morning until night," he said to himself, "yet he rests in comfort. If only I were as powerful and led a comfortable life as this rich man." And as the wish left his lips, something strange happened. The room did not change, but he did. He was no longer the stonecutter standing by the door. He was the man seated on the cushions, dressed in fine robes, servants waiting at his side. He tasted the sweet fruit and leaned back in the shade, feeling certain that now, at last, he had become someone important. At first, he loved his new life. He enjoyed the soft cushions and the fine robes. Servants did all his work. He did not have to climb the mountain or lift a hammer, and he was loving every moment. But as the days passed, something began to change. With nothing to strive for and nothing to shape with his hands, he grew restless. The comfort that once felt exciting slowly became dull. He found himself staring out the window, watching the world move without him. One afternoon, the sun burned fiercely overhead. Its heat pressed down on the house until even the shaded rooms felt warm. Sweat formed on his brow, and he frowned. "The sun is more powerful than I am," he murmured. "Everyone and everything must bend to its heat. I wish I were the sun." No sooner had he spoken than the world shifted. He rose high above the village, blazing across the sky. He poured light over the rooftops, warmed the fields, and stretched his golden rays across the mountains. Below him, people searched for shade. Now this was power. He shone brighter, certain that nothing could stand against him. Until, one day, a dark cloud drifted across the sky. It slipped between him and the earth, covering his light. No matter how fiercely he shone, he could not break through. "The cloud is stronger than I am," he thought. "If I were the cloud, nothing could block me." And in the next moment, he was no longer the sun. He had become the cloud. As the cloud, he drifted freely across the wide sky. He stretched himself over the sun and felt a quiet satisfaction as its bright light faded behind him. When he chose, he released heavy drops of rain that fell upon the earth below, soaking the fields and filling the rivers. For a time, he enjoyed this new power, but soon the wind began to stir. At first, it was only a gentle breeze nudging him along. Then it grew stronger, pushing and pulling until he found himself carried across the sky, whether he wished it or not. He could no longer decide where to rest or when to reign. The wind is stronger than I am, he thought. It moves me as it pleases. I wish I were the wind. In the next instant, he was no longer soft and grey. He was invisible and swift. He rushed through the village streets and swept over the open fields. Trees bent beneath his force. Roofs creaked. Dust rose into the air as he roared past. At last he felt truly free, able to go wherever he desired. He believed nothing could stand in his way. Then he came upon the great mountain. He pushed against it with all his strength. He howled and pressed against its towering sides. But the mountain did not shift. It did not tremble. It did not bend. It simply stood. The mountain is stronger than I am, he said to himself. If I were the mountain, nothing could move me. And so, once again, he changed. He rose upward, rooted deep in the earth, tall and solid, unmoving beneath the sky. As the mountain, he stood firm. The wind swept past him without leaving a mark. The rain fell against his sides and ran harmlessly downward. The sun beat upon him day after day, yet he remained unchanged. At last, he felt unshakable. Then, one morning, he sensed a faint tapping against his rocky side. He looked down the slope and saw a familiar figure standing at his base. It was a stonecutter. The man lifted his hammer and struck the rock with calm determination. Again and again he worked, carefully shaping the stone. Small pieces broke away and tumbled to the ground. The mountain felt each strike. It was not dramatic, but slowly, surely, the mountain was being changed. And in that quiet rhythm of hammer against stone, something became clear. For all his height and strength, he could still be shaped by steady hands. In that moment, he understood. And just as suddenly as before, the change came once more. He was no longer towering above the village. He stood once again at the foot of the mountain, a hammer resting in his own hands. His palms were rough. His shoulders were strong. The tools felt familiar and steady. He looked at the mountain with new eyes. He no longer saw himself as small and no longer wished to trade places with anyone else. From then on, he worked with quiet pride, content in the life that was already his. So remember, when you stop wishing to be someone else, you finally discover who you were meant to be. Thank you for watching Family Time Tales, where every story brings us closer together. This was a classic folktale passed down for generations, part of our mission to share timeless legends from around the world. Subscribe for more tales to enjoy with your family.